Welcome, children of the night, to another installment of the Cradle of Filth discography review. This time we will be reviewing the tale of the downfall, the rise and fall of the devil, entitled Damnation and a Day. Anyway, this is their 2000 release, the first release that they did on a major record label. It was Epic Records, which is a basically the record label of Sony Music, and this entailed a completely new direction with their sound. The production is way more polished. They have an actual symphony. John is gone. The black metal influences are pretty much gone. This is purely symphonic, gothic, extreme metal is basically the only way that you could describe it. But it is a very epic sort of album with a very epic concept. The concept of kind of Paradise Lost. The story of basically the story of God and Satan from Satan's point of view. The first half is in third person. The second half of the album, Danny takes on the role of Satan and sings it from a first person perspective. It's an hour and 16 minutes long, so it's a very long release. Again, the only guitarist is Paul Allender, and Martin, the keyboardist, does a little bit of additional guitar work. They also have a new bassist, Dave, which, having Paul stand alone on guitars, I don't like it as much, but at the same time, he's a good songwriter, so he does a pretty good job with the guitars here. The guitars are basically that choppy, down-picked, riffy, thrashy type of thing, with a little bit of melodic leads interspersed here and there throughout some of the tracks. Danny's got some really great lyricism that goes on. Again, very polished production. It's split up into 4 sections, each section with a instrumental intro and then 3 tracks. Another instrumental intro, 3 tracks. Instrumental intro, 3 tracks. And so on. Starts out with A Bruise Upon the Silent Moon, which is basically the intro to the whole concept, and it goes into that track ends with the scripture, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and it goes right into the promise of fever, which is basically the beginning summary of the tale of the devil, and how he began to have these ideas, and how he is going to take some of the angels with him. It's a very ferocious opener, a very thrash-tastic kind of riffy opener. Again, the next track, Hurt and Virtue, which is one of my all-time favorites, is once again got that riffy style, but it adds a little bit more melody into the mix, a little bit of random lead guitar work here, which is basically, this song is him actually getting kicked out of heaven. His seal he tore, into the floor he threw his tie to heaven, signifying holy war. And then with that, it's An Enemy Led the Tempest, which is again it is another satanic anthem. Is where God tells him, you're no more an angel, but you're a leech to be aboard. Then it goes to number 5, which is the beginning of the second part, the track called Damned in Any Language, which ends with a narration of a scripture about the great dragon and his angels being cast out, which then leads into my favorite song on the album, called Better to Reign in Hell, which begins with the in the verses of this song, the guitar is completely undistorted with a lot of reverb and chorus thrown in, which I really like. It's something kind of new to their sound that they haven't really explored before, but I really like it. I really love the track. I really love the lyrics. Then it goes to Serpent Tongue, which is kind of the story of Adam and Eve, which adds also the story of Lilith and their temptation and their ultimate fall from grace too. And then Carry On, which is the devil pretty much reigning over the earth and taking his seat as Lord of the earth, sort of, where he has tempted man and gotten mankind into his control. And with that, it goes into the third portion of the album with the song The Mordant Liquor of Tears, which is the instrumental intro. And then number 10, another one of my absolute favorites off of this album, Presence from the Poison Hearted. It has that really catchy, riffy section that's the lyrics perverting virtue, enslaving grace. Anyway, then to track 11, Doberman Pharaoh, which is the tale of Egypt, and from there, Babylon AD, So Glad for the Madness, which Danny does sound absolutely mad in those vocals. Then 13, which it begins the fourth part of the album, A Scarlet Witch Lit the Season. From there we have Mannequin, which is another single, a little bit melodic, a little bit psychotic. And then Thank God for the Suffering, which is the only track I truly dislike off of this album. And the reason I dislike it is when Danny tries to half sing, half bellow, and it just sounds flat and uninspired. I don't like it. I don't like when he tries to actually kind of sing in that low, bellowy, half sang, half growl, half... But it functions pretty well, lyrically, which is, thank God for that. And then the closing track, The Smoke of Her Burning, which is a ferocious beast of a track, very apocalyptic in nature, both with the music and with the lyrics. And it has one of my favorite sections of the album in the lyricism. The very end of the story, weld the gates to heaven shut, the abyss leers in hissing ruts, unhilt the black grimoire of death, inscribe all names that God has left. I lived the dream of nymphs and men, but now the nightmare has come again. And then the outro track ends on the same note that the album began on, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. I hope I did a good job describing this for you guys. As I said, it's basically a very riffy, choppy, thrashy, symphonic, grandiose, epic, with a great storyline, a great concept. The only thing is, two complaints I have is, number one, it may be a little bit overproduced for my tastes. It doesn't have a lot of melodic leads with the guitar. It's Paul on his own, and I really like it better when Paul has a guitar partner to play off of. Also, it's really long. Other than that, it's pretty good. A lot of people give this album low marks and say it's a mixed bag. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a really good album. I don't revisit it all that much. After a while, the replay value kind of tapers off, but it is a good album. It's one that I think many fans of Cradle Filth will really like. It's kind of their turning point into their latter sound, which a lot of people don't like, and I don't necessarily disagree that they kind of tapered off in terms of quality after this album, but this album is pretty damn great. I would give it an 83 out of 100. Symphonic goth metal, apocalyptic, what else can you say? Grandiose, epic, apocalyptic, great album, great music, great lyrics. A little bit of a drop off in quality from what they had been doing previous, but still good. 83 out of 100. Peace, motherfuckers.